What's good, family? What's good, family? It's your boy, Urban Sports Guru. I'm going to give y'all my picks for the AFC West. Now, this time last year, there were actually pundits out there that believed there was a real chance for all four teams to make it out of all four teams to make it out of the AFC West into the playoffs. And I believed it too. There was a chance. We looked at all four teams. You've seen the Raiders implode, talented, but you've seen them implode. Injuries, etc. We've seen what happened in Denver. Kansas City did what they did, and the Chargers took a step. This year, let's start off with Kansas City. We just seen their defense against a very good Detroit offense only give up 14 points, and that was without Chris Jones. Point one. My fear for the Kansas City Chiefs, however, when I look at that team, they're so top heavy, and I just have this fear that Patrick Mahomes is not going to make it through the season. Not only will they not repeat, I just got this fear that Patrick Mahomes won't make it through the season. It's not because of their offensive line ain't good. It's just that they have to carry. He has to carry so much, and since they're so top heavy, they have holes. Looking at their roster, and comparing it to other rosters, just skill position and defensive players. Even though collectively the defense has gotten better, they don't. It's not comparison to other teams. Patrick Mahomes is reminiscent to me of what Tom Brady was doing with those Patriot teams, because a lot of those Patriot teams, even the ones that was winning the Super Bowl, man for man, they weren't the most talented teams in football. They were not. They made up for a lot of that with a Hall of Fame quarterback and probably the best coach of all time. Andy Reid, one of the best offensive minds of all time. They had Eric Bieniemy, a great offensive mind. They've lost that. Still got Andy Reid, and you got this wonder kid at quarterback and Patrick Mahomes, who seemingly there's nothing he can't do. If they're healthy, they'll make it to the playoffs. They won't win the Super Bowl. I have this fear that he won't make it. Just my fear. I don't want to speak that into existence. It's just a fear of mine. Secondly, Chargers, they took a step up, then kind of took a step back, blowing a 27-point lead. My thing with them is health. And it's health because when I look at that team, top to bottom, they're loaded. Can Bosa and Max stay healthy and produce? Can they finally become a good run defense? Finally. Derwin James, one of the best safeties in football, can he stay healthy? J.C. Jackson, can he play better than he did last year? Offensively, can the great young left tackle, can he stay healthy? Austin Eckler did not get the contract he wanted, but you cannot argue with his brother's production. And they have three big, damn good targets at receiver. Chargers, I think the Chargers win the division. It's just my belief. Then you got the Raiders. I have no faith in the Raiders. I have no faith in Josh McDaniels as a head coach. I think he's a much better coordinator, but not a head coach. It's showing again. Yes, you went and got Jimmy G. Jimmy G's been in your system, but you already seen the nonsense happening with Chandler Jones there. And it's kind of crazy that, high price free agent from a year ago can't even get in the facility. That's crazy to me. But I love Max Crosby. I just don't think they have the talent to compete. Last but not least, you have the Denver Broncos last year. I mean, Hackett was in over his head. God bless him. He's in New York where he wants to be with Aaron Rodgers. But I remember paying attention and seeing some slippage of Russell Wilson this last year in Seattle, but we just attributed to that to him coming off an injury. Then everybody thought last year, okay, let Russ cook all those weapons. And it just didn't look good. The question is, was that his slippage or was that Hackett? And it's looking like Russ slippage because look what Geno did in Seattle. In comparison, I think back to that first game of the year when Hackett didn't let him go for it on fourth down. They kicked that field goal, they ended up losing in Seattle. Everybody then called Hackett an idiot. How does Hackett look now, considering that decision? I mean, how does he look now? Just saying. I think it's gonna be. I think they'll be an average team. I don't think they will be bad. There's no place to go without 8 wins, maybe. I think Sean Payton, his no nonsense style, is needed for the team. I don't know if that works for Russ, although I do think that's what Russ needs at this point in his career. I think Russ has to learn to get rid of the football. They've done some things with the offensive line, but I say average because they've lost a lot of skill position players. I mean, they lost a lot of players. Because of that, I say Broncos is average. Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, Raiders. Raiders probably win 4 or 5 games. That's my take for the AFC West. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you feel. It's your boy, Urban Sports Guru. I'm out. Salute.